Freeland, whenever you are ready. Okay. We'll go ahead and open things right up for Coach Faulkner.
I guess going into year 2 now and having the OTAs in the spring and all that and so much offensive production back, how have you felt the install has gone so far through 2 days of camp and kind of where you feel like you are maybe compared to last year?
Well, we're light years ahead of where we were last year, obviously just from coming back and, a lot of guys being back and, we're a deeper football team, from recruiting and adding to our roster. And, we started the install process back in February when all the guys got here, and they've been through it through spring, and then they went through it through, all summer long, when we were able to be with them, and then obviously, when they were on their own. So there's a lot of retention. We've obviously got a great staff, and now with the new rules, it really helps out. With some of these other guys that were quote-unquote analysts, they're able to coach. And I tell everybody all the time, Nathan Brock's been here for a long time and does a great job. And he's coaches our tight ends, and that's what he's been doing. And, now that he did it as a GA and now that it's legal, the guy has done a phenomenal job. Obviously, he's done a great job recruiting. He's been here for a while. And, he's not the only one, but it's opened up a lot of other guys to be able to meet with guys. A.J. Erdley's been here for a while now, and Dylan Dockery and DeAndre Schmelter, who played here. We're able to keep this offseason. And having all those guys back also helps with the install with the young guys, being able to bring them along. Now they're able to meet with them. Now they're able to instruct on the field. All those things really help, and I think it's a great rule that, college football made that change. And it benefits the players.
Looking at the running back room last year, naturally towards the end, last half of the season, you had 2 guys that carried the load. Now Jamal's the lone guy back from that group. How much of a load do you think he can carry, and what are you seeing from the rest of the group?
First of all, Jamal can carry as much of the load as you'll let him. He's a guy that I've said it many a times. I mean, the guy loves football. He's ate up with it. He's highly competitive. Really, he's a football junkie. So he can carry as much as we'll let him. It's hard this day and age to be the sole back. So the rest of the room's coming along really good. Travion Cooley's had a great spring, a really, really good summer. He's gotten bigger, he's stronger, he's one of the fastest guys on the team. The bigger he's gotten, the faster he's gotten. And he played a lot of football for us and played a lot of football in his career and got nothing but confidence in him to go out and play. Evan Dickens is a guy that you have no worries when he's in the game. He can do it all. He's getting better. Obviously, he's a year under his belt. And then you've got the freshman that we brought in, and Chad Alexander's another guy that's competing right there. So we feel good about the room. Really, really tough kids, and they're all eager to learn, and we look forward to battling out over the next several weeks.
Jackson.
Offensive line has several veteran players back, but beyond that, how do you feel about the depth and a lot of how the young guys are coming along there?
Well, I feel great about our depth compared to where we were a year ago. Obviously, we brought some guys in. Kylan Rutledge is a guy that we brought in that has played football to add some depth. We lost a right guard. Felt like it was a need for an older spot. He's been great all summer long. He wasn't able to go through spring because of an injury, but he's brought a lot of energy to that room, a lot of passion. Another guy that loves football. They've embraced him. Absolutely love that room. Tough. They do everything we ask them to do. And obviously Coach Wade, I've said it before, I think he's the best in the country, and he demands a lot out of those guys. He's recruited really, really well, brought some depth in here and some talent, some guys that can really move. Harrison Moore's been very impressive. So Jamison Riggs had a great summer. He had to take a lot of reps in the spring because Corey Robinson was down, and got a chance to play. We've shown we're not afraid to play a freshman like we played Ethan last year. So the best are going to play. We've got a lot of depth and we've got a lot of competition going on.
Buster, I dug around a little bit in your past, and I was looking for times when you'd nothing bad.
Don't dig too deep.
Yeah. Of times when you'd been coordinator and had a quarterback come back, and Logan Kilgore, Justice Hanson, didn't have, I'm sure, things under you. And what caught my attention was that those guys did better and that the offense did better. And I was wondering if you kind of speak to that. I imagine it's a good thing in that you have a lot of pieces back, but they're also a challenge in that, teams have film on your guy coming back and maybe you're looking have answers. So can you kind of just describe the positive, negatives, challenges in that situation?
The positive is I mean, number one is, and really in the case that we have right now, we've got a kid that's highly competitive, extremely tough. He does everything you want him to do. He's obviously he's one of the leaders of the football team. So that's where it starts, okay? What it allows us to do is it allows us to continue to grow, right? We're able to really take a year and really find out what he can and can't do, and now it's our job to really hone in on all those strengths and do the things and get the people around him to give him a chance to continue to be successful and be better, right? And I think anytime you're coming back, in those other guys' cases, they played 13 games. I mean, the kid played 13 games. He played some games before that. So we've got a lot of confidence in him and what he can do, and we just keep putting more and more on his plate. And like I said, he's got great players around him, and he understands that, and he knows he gets them the ball. It makes them look really good.
The tight end room was rough in the spring, just guys getting banged up, and then obviously Brett had surgery, got fixed up. Now it seems like you have an embarrassment of riches with older guys that can play and catch and stretch the field, plus some younger talent. Just how have you seen that room kind of evolve, and does that change maybe the way you use them in the season? Yeah,
it was obviously depleted through injury in spring, right? And then obviously we lost two really, really good players that played a lot of football last year. And like I said before, Nathan Brock's done an unbelievable job of recruiting and obviously coaching those guys and developing them, and that's where it all starts. Brett Seither didn't go through spring. He finished the season, I thought, playing the best football of his career. He had back surgery, and he's full speed now. He's back. He was able to get back in June. We added Josh Beetham, a transfer from Michigan with some experience. Really, really excited about him. He's had a great summer. He's got a bright future here. He's got 2 years left. All right, and obviously we added Jackson Halls from Yale, who has come in and been nothing but what we really thought he was going to be, one of the strongest guys on the team, hardest workers, and that's what you look for in that room, Tell everybody all the time, you got the quarterback who's got everything on him. The tight end's got a lot on him, and what we ask them to do offensively, right? They got to be able to block. They got to be able to catch. They got to line up and protect. They got to do run blocking. They got to line up and do perimeter blocking, right? So they got to do everything. And we ask them to do that. We're excited about that room. I think it's really, really deep. We got two young guys that are developing and we're really excited about, Luke Harpering and David Prince. So just bring those guys along, and we want to always keep a deep tight end room.
You look at the quarterback position. Actually, you're starting to prepare, or you have been preparing for Florida State. What do you do with the two freshmen as far as what you're trying to accomplish with them between now and the 12th when you start in game, actual game week preparation?
Talking about the young freshman quarterbacks? Yeah. Well, obviously, the good thing is we've got two guys that are back, all right, Haynes being the starter, and then obviously Zach has got a ton of reps over since we've been here, right? Really and truly, he's gotten just as many as Haynes has gotten in practice, right? Probably right down to the exact rep. So, last year we had those two guys, and this year you're bringing in two young guys, and Aaron Philo and Graham Knowles, and both of them, the best thing about them is they're really smart, they're really competitive, everything that you want right there. They study the game. Got a great coach coaching them, which that helps out a lot. The biggest thing for us is we've got to have somebody else ready to play, right? So those two guys are really battling for that third spot, right? And once one of those guys kind of shakes it out, then they'll compete for, to be the backup and the starter, right? Just like we do at every other position. But we have to have somebody prepared to play, and that's what we're doing right now with those guys.
Time for a couple more, Coach.
Eric Singleton had a really strong freshman season, but where do you see his progression, and where does he need to get better to take the next step forward?
Just finishing plays, right? And I think he'd tell you the same thing. He's conscientious about everything that we do. He's a guy that doesn't want to come off the field, all right? And the biggest thing we have to do with him, as crazy as it sounds, is we got to slow him down sometimes, right? Because he's full speed all the time, and even in walkthroughs, the guys were like running faster than everybody else, and we just want to slow him down. But biggest thing is just like anything else, is continuing to detail the routes, right? And when he adds that part to his game, he's going to be really tough to cover.
Okay, Jim, Connie, we'll take one more after that.
If I could follow up what I was saying before, and you were talking about building on what Haynes can do. I'm curious, kind of what does that look like in terms of how you figure out what does he do well? Are you going out and looking at other quarterbacks and other teams, or was it digging in on your own stuff, or kind of what does that process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great question. You know, we spend all spring, all summer long, you know, studying other really good offenses, other quarterbacks that I think that are similar to him, whether it's NFL or college. We did a lot of that. Several different teams that we studied and how they were able to utilize their quarterbacks or utilize that guy's skill set and you know, cut out some things and maybe add some things right here. We did a lot of that, and you'll see what we do this fall with that. So, but we're excited about where we're at right now. Obviously, we got to continue to get better, but you know, he's a good one to have.
Connie, if you want to run this up. Sure.
I feel like you have a good understanding of what your older receivers can do from Chase or even Eric, who's going into second year, and Malik and those guys. What are you looking for from some of those younger players to step in and get playing time, whether it's Zion or Bailey, who was a guy you were really excited about last year before he got hurt in camp, and like just and could you see one of those guys like come in and play this fall? Or are you kind of having some expectations for some of those young guys now?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We have obviously Malik and Eric are returning. They were leading receivers and have both had great camps, great summers. Chase Lane's a guy that at the time when he got hurt, he was our leading receiver. You know, it was only a game and a half, but he did have a bunch of catches and a bunch of production at the time. And he has had so far probably the best 2 days of anybody, which is exciting. Young guys, Bailey Stockton's a kid that, you know, just shows up and makes plays. Got great hands, really good route runner. We're excited where he's at. Zion's got a great skill set, just continuing to learn the offense. Still haven't seen much yet of Isaiah Canyon. He's a guy that we were excited about recruiting. He wasn't able to go through spring, so it's just his second day. Leo Blackburn has shown up the last couple of days, made a couple flashes, and then Christian Leary's another guy that we're going to find ways to utilize his skill set. He played a lot of football for us. He can really run. And the best thing about him and what he's been able to do is he's really been able to bounce around and learn all the spots to add depth. And it's like I tell the guys all the time, just because you're an X receiver doesn't mean you're not competing with the backup Z. All right, we're looking to get the best guys on the field that help this offense go. And I think they realize that. And I really, really like that room. Abdul Janae's another guy who put on about 10 pounds and looks faster than he was a year ago, and that's exciting. He's been our best blocker, and then Avery Boyd, we've kind of bounced him in and out of the receiver tight end room as well. So we're excited about those guys.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate you guys. All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a good one. See y'all.